Hello, everybody, and welcome to the part 2028 of the Arduboy Gave Them stream. The last stream I left you was a bug in the form of the enemy. I was quite tired yesterday. I could not think about where this come from, and fortunately I found the problem. So the reason why the code was not working the same way as with Rick, the main character, is because Rick is drawn at the very end of the update, and the enemy are drawn first. So basically the enemy was colliding with itself, with its own sprite, because if you check the order, first we draw the enemies, so it draw itself, and then we check the static collision. So in the map manager, we first update the enemy, like with the draw enemy state. Then we draw the collision, platform, and so on, and then we check the static collision. So basically, the enemy was colliding with itself, with his own feet. And for Rick, Rick is drawn here. So after all the static collision, so we could the code was working for Rick. So basically, how to solve it? There is multiple way of solving it. Maybe we can, for example, add one more step in the update, and for example, the enemy could probably erase itself after drawing the enemy here to check the collision for Rick, for example. It could just erase the enemy, like in the erase bullet step. So the enemy could erase themselves, and then we can just redraw themselves again. But that would add another step. So basically, I found a cheap way to more simple way to do it. Maybe not simple, but like not adding a new step in the update. And basically I just so in the static collision, this is where I should do it. I am checking the collision, not just one pixel under the feet, but more pixel under, depending on the current falling speed or falling movement. So basically, here I start from the bottom, so from the maximum, and I will just move up, and every time I found if I start by finding a collision, then that means the character is in the ground. Then I decrease the animation, the anim speed at X. So why I'm doing that is because I'm checking for, you can read the comment, I'm checking the collision for the next frame actually, not the current frame. Because, because I at that step I already draw myself, so I can check the collision just under me. But if I check the collision while I am inside the ground, then it's too late. I cannot differentiate between the ground and myself and my sprite. So I check more under, depending on the speed. And if I'm falling too fast, then I reduce my falling speed. So it's a kind of landing, if you want. So the next frame I will just move the exact amount for landing on the ground, and the next frame I will just detect collision under the feet, and I will switch to the walk. So I can show you the difference that I have. Um, so I made a first attempt actually to fix it, and I refactor the code, so I will show you that. I just created a function get y under the feet. This is also to prepare the code for the scorpion that will arrive. Last stream I told you we may also have a scorpion AI. The width also, and I made a function for that because I use it several times. So in the CPP we just call the function here, and basically I move that code inside the function if there any ground at, so it's here as you can see. I just move the code here. The width depending on if I'm skeleton or mummy, and the fit. And then my first attempt to check it was inside the update file, but it doesn't work because in that when I'm doing the update file, the static collision are not drawn yet, so it's totally useless, this code. Okay, then I properly fix it like that. So I just changed the position of the enemy for testing, and here, so I added an init file, but it's not really necessary, but just for the clarity of the code. And this is what I've just explained you, the function to slow down the animation, slow down the moving, the falling speed, sorry, if I will detect the ground under. And here I just call the init for. Just move this balloon here, so just move the init for. And I remove that code that was not fixing anything. And I want to show you, because maybe you have doubt that this bug was actually here, so I want to show you what I'm talking about. So first I can show you the code here in the physics. As you can see here, we can move from 3 or 2 pixels every frame, and of course we have a limiter here, the full vertical mean index, which is 3, but currently 3 is 0, 1, 2, 3 is here, so we can move 2 pixels if we are at the maximum falling speed, right? So if you want to test that, what you can do is, for example, here in the skeleton walk anim speed, we can just put 20, which is bigger than 16, bigger than 15. So it will, because remember the animation frame count is packed with this one, so it's only on 4-bit. So this one will we will never reach the next frame, so the walk will stop. But then since it stopped, we can see if it's inside or not, inside the ground or not, right? So I just do that for debugging purpose, and then here I will just comment that code, and let's try it. All right, so yeah, so here you can, so as I just said, the enemy is not walking, and you can see that his feet are actually inside inside the ground. So if you remember the sprite of sorry of the skeleton, he has some feet here. Oops, not visible. Some feet here that are inside the ground, right? So if I uncomment this, let's try it. And now we can see the feet are really um, above the ground. So that's a little bug, very minor bug, because actually even with the bug, the AI can walk inside the ground. But I don't like to let some bug in the code, because you don't know if later we decide to change the falling speed, falling animation. If we tune it, then the bug may become worse. Like if I accelerate it, and for example, if I move for 3 pixel a frame per frame, then that may cause trouble. So yeah, I prefer to fix it properly, and that's why I also use those this complex loop to fix it. But of course, it's not a perfect fix, because I'm checking the collision for the next frame, so you don't really know what the next frame will be, and especially if the camera is moving. So if the camera is moving, then this is not correct. So of course, I would prefer to check the collision during the current frame, but that would bring too much trouble in the update. So let's just keep it like this. I think that's enough. So yeah, we can put back the normal speed of the AI, and that will do this. Okay, so that's the fix I've done. And then we also did something else. I did this. I mentioned during the last stream. Sorry, is to move on the X a little bit at the beginning. So I just created function move according to direction, and I just move the code from the walk into that function. So basically, depending on the mirror X, I move minus or plus. And here in the update for, I move also, I call that function, but I call it just for the first few frame of the fall. So basically, it's the number of frame minus the collision detection. So because I want to move at least out of the detection distance, and minus 1 to be 1 pixel after the hole. All right, so yeah, we can test that easily. I should place back the character on maybe 85, and this one should be for 15, I think. So is it okay? Yeah. So okay, I'll relaunch it in big screen. Yeah, so you see it's falling 1 pixel away from the border. And with that, I think we have finished the falling state. I think it's complete. So what we can do now, we have a couple of things I would like to do. We have the death state to implement. We have some bug also, and this one I think we can do the two at the same time. So if we look into the death of Rick, the death state, update state of Rick, you may remember, if you follow all the stream, the equation for the parabolic movement, which is here. All right, and regarding the bug, basically I check if I am on screen, I just respawn. If I'm not on screen, I just respawn, which is the intended behavior, right? That's what you want. You want the character to move out of the screen and totally out of the screen. The problem is if Rick start to be out of the screen, then the camera would start to move. And there is a little margin because we have implemented like that. This function is just does exactly what we expect it to do. So if you remember, we just check the width and we check if they are totally outside of the screen. So the problem does not come from here, and I think that's okay. We should respawn when we are out of the screen. The problem is the camera transition. So I think the easy way is to tell the camera to not transition if Rick is dead or is dying. He's playing his death animation. And fortunately, we already have a is alive function that we have implemented, which does exactly this. So, which return true if the state is not death. So I think we can just call this function in the update map manager. So first I will do again the bug. So for example, if I hit the spike here, all right, so you can see the camera is moving, is drawing the memory. Here we can so it's in the update of the camera. I think it's animate camera transition, and we are changing the target. So I think this we should not change the current animation, but the first part we should not do it if Rick is dead, right? So we should only do it if he's alive. So let's just write this: if Rick is alive, okay, then we do this. Okay, let's check it. And that works. That was easy, right? I can show you in big screen. Yeah. Come on, don't collide with death. And that works. All right, which so it seems that it's another bug that we just noticed here. I just collide with the spike. If I collide from the bottom, oh no, yeah, maybe it's just the animations like that. All right, so that's cool. We'll fix that bug. Let's commit it. I will remove it from the bug list. Yeah, I have started to create the scorpion image. I will also add it. So bug fix, prevent the camera to switch the puzzle screen when Rick is dying. All right, so just test if he's alive. Okay, remove the bug. That's it. All right, so next, the parabolic trajectory. So I think again we need to move that that code to the physics, to our physics manager, physics namespace, and just to share it between different entities. So we will have the enemy dying like that, and if we have a nice function, we may also use it for, I'm thinking, for explosion. So for example, we will have the destroyable block here. Maybe those blocks can explode. I don't want to do it like the original game where the block is moving horizontally, is ejected horizontally, and sometimes it's ejected in the opposite direction just to trick the player. I think this is just being nasty to the player, so I will not do that, but we'll just maybe make it explode in little pieces, and those pieces could also have this bullet trajectory. Yeah, to do that, I want to take that code and make some function that could be reusable for different items. All right, but if you look at the code, okay, so it's here, right? So first we have a frame counter to increase. Okay, not a big deal. Then some velocity, that could be a parameters of the function for sure. But if you remember, we have a start x and y because the parabolic equation need the start. And this cannot be the x and y because the x and y is your current x and y during the frame. And those value are int, just like x and y, because they are in world coordinate. So that means if we want the AI to die like that, I mean we will have to add x and y to the enemy class. And I think that start to be big for something that is not used very often. Because that's 2 in, that's 4 char, and we may have many, so that increase the class size, and we may have many enemies in the game. So I think it's kind of wasting some memory. So what I would like to do is using a kind of buffer and let the physics manager and handling this start x position. Also the frame counter, obviously this one has to be quite big because the parabola may last quite a long time, so we cannot just count like 60 frames, that's very too short. So that's also maybe 3 int. So yeah, that's why I want to do that. So let's go to the physics namespace, and for that I will create a small class, which I will call parabolic parameter. Maybe. And yeah, I will take the start x and start y. So it's just start x, start y. And I will also add the counter. So which is a char here. Maybe the char is enough. Yep. State frame counter and sign char. Okay. Okay, so just call it frame counter. All right, and then we will add some function. So probably one for registering and the other one for updating. So how to call it? I don't know. Register, add, start, parabolic trajectory. And another one for updating. So update parabolic trajectory, and we will take x and y that we will update it as a reference. And we may take more parameters, but let's see. Yeah. Yeah, we need another parameter. Okay. So I need this. I will copy it for now. Okay, so why I return an index here is because I will have a buffer of parabolic parameter. So yeah, so it's in char. So that will be the ID. And okay, so I need to declare my array of parabolic parameter. How I will call it? Buffer, maybe. Yeah, buffer. And I will declare a variable for this, for the max. So I don't know how many I can use. Maybe a couple of AI could die at the same time. Let's say 4 maximum. I can die with the AI too. Who knows? We can adjust later. So we just get this. Yep. Okay, I can just write this. So the frame counter will increase the frame counter, and then we should use the start X and start Y. And this is X and Y that we directly modify. All right, so of course the velocity should be a parameter. So let's give it here. Could be negative. Okay. No underscore. And the other one are constant. I can just move them here. I should move them in this class. So depth, moving speed, velocity, half gravity. This is the constant I need in physics. But I should rename it, of course. Values for the parabolic trajectory. So I call it parabolic moving speed. Parabolic velocity x. Ah, yes, this one is not this one is given in parameter. And the half gravity. So this one I will put it back inside rig. All right, so we have our equation here. Yeah, so now what about, okay, the ID x, okay, what about the start? So obviously I need a start x and start y. I could also store the velocity, so I just need to give it one time. That will use just one more char, but yeah, we don't have that many. Yeah, I'm thinking, because I'm thinking, for example, if we have explosion, then we may want to have random velocity. So yeah, we can randomize at the start, and then they keep their velocity. So yeah, let's move it here. And we can just add it here. Okay, so here we use the one in the class. All right, so yeah, as I said, so we need to add that into the buffer. So obviously we need a buffer counter. So parabolic parameter count. So we just set the value. And the frame counter is, of course, reset it to 0. And the velocity is memorized. All right. And then, so we should make sure that we are not over the buffer. And then we return, so of course we should increase it. So memorize the data. Sorry. Increase the counter and return the buffer number. We can return invalid invalid ID. Yeah. Invalid parabolic parabolic trajectory ID. And here we can test it. For the update. just in case we don't have enough buffer. Okay, so the thing is, this buffer is never, it should be a circular buffer, so this buffer is never reused. It works for the first 4 and then it stops working, so we have to implement the reusability. But we'll do that later. Let's try to refactor the player code and see if it works. So I need to declare this here. Function for parabolic trajectories. Okay, and then I should use them in rig. So so this is the update, and there is a init, so let's call the init death. I think there is an init, probably it's above. Here, okay. So I need to get my velocity. Don't know why I added underscore here. And then of course it's X and Y. So we don't need depth star X and Y anymore. We can just delete them. But of course it will send us an ID that we should keep. So let's actually, sorry, I'm confusing you. Yeah, I just want to death parabolic ID. All right. I can probably make the no, I'm not sure. Anyway, okay. So here we should memorize it. We actually don't need to reset the frame counter because we won't use it anymore. Not sure, but I think so. Alright, so here we remove that and this. And we will just call the update function on the address, sorry, the update. Okay, so the animation doesn't change. Yeah, we have replaced this, and in it we do that. I think we don't need the state counter. Okay, let's try to see if it compiles. No. So what is the problem? Start X is private. Sure. Let's make it public. State frame counter not declared in this scope in the update where it is. Yeah, this one. So just use a variable because let's write it like this. All right, so okay. Let's try if it's still working. No, it's not. Okay. So what did I change here? I put it back this one, not sure. Start parabolic trajectory with the velocity. This I didn't change. And then in the update, X and Y. Maybe a problem in the reference because I'm responding. Why I'm responding then? That's strange. Okay, so So when I do a start, a slash, so start X, start Y, frame counter 0, and the velocity here. Update. Okay, if I'm not invalid, then +1. X and Y. Just declare reference here. Reference. Should be small later anyway. It's local variable. What is strange is that we have a respawn, so it's like it's moving, but it's not drawing where it moves. Yes, maybe I need to update the frame counter anyway for the animation, maybe. So let's update it. Let me die on the spike, just to be sure. Whoa! Whoa! That's interesting. XY. XY frame counter. Unsigned maybe. Yeah. Okay. It's like the start. I didn't change anything, huh? In the equation is the same. The frame counter is reset to 0. update, I increase it. Mm-hmm. Yep, I have no idea so far. Because I increase it here, so I start with 0 plus 1 minus 1, it's 0. Should be 0. Um, they are int. Here they are int. Oh, I inverted the velocity and the start. And that is the problem. Not in the update, but in the start. Okay, let's start again. Yeah, there we go. Can I die on? Yes, okay. Okay, so we have it. Well, that's funny, I don't die immediately, I can walk on AI. And then, as we said, it works 4 times and the buffer is full. So we have an invalid ID and no update. So let's fix that. Okay, so I think we should just have a stop maybe, because I don't want the physics to assume when it's finished or not. Yeah, so let's do a stop. So, okay, stop. And we need the ID. So if the ID is valid, okay, so I suggest to use a special value, like maybe velocity 0, because parabolic with null velocity is just this, up and down. We will, or statics could be negative also, but because yeah, we will always stay start. Yeah, maybe. I don't know where to place it. Yeah. Valid parabolic trajectory start X. So when we stop it, we just reset the start X to this specific value. We don't need to change the other parameters. And here we will search free parameter So if we find one start X was this specific value, then char, so how do we call it? Return ID, for example, return ID. We initialize it with the invalid ID, and if we find one, then we memorize it, and then if the return ID is not invalid, then we can set the value. So we don't need this anymore, and we just return the ID, which means we don't need a counter anymore. Okay, so this time we can take anyone that is free. If we found a valid ID for free, set the value. Return the ID found or not. Okay. Should be okay. Normally this should be initialized. I'm not sure if it compiles. Not declare. It's in physics scope. Do you want it in front? Alright, if I write it like this, oh, overflow, okay, sorry. Yeah, I should declare stop. the count for what? Where? In stop. Oh, it's ID. Actually, this one is different invalid. That's what we want to test. Wow, we can test both actually. That's the same. All right. Okay, it compiles. Then we should call the stop from Rick. So in the respawn. Respawn. Stop the parabolic trajectory. So of course, if you have a bug somewhere and if you are not friendly, you forgot the stop, then the buffer is flooded, and then nobody can die anymore. So can I die more than 4 times? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Let's commit that. Okay, here. So what do we have? 3 new function in the physics. One new class and the buffer of that class, and the start, we find one, we fill it, the stop, we make it free, and the update. All right. And in Rick, remove those parameters, remove those, the stop in respawn, the start in init death, and the update. All right. So factorize Z maybe the code of the parabolic trajectory, the death of Rick in the physics namespace. All right. Now let's use that for enemy. It's 1 hour and 10 minutes stream. All right, so let's use that for our enemy. So we need an ID to memorize which parabolic buffer we use, but we can probably reuse one of those data, because when I'm dying I don't need much about that. For example, I don't need the frame count. Oh yeah, by the way, I think we don't need the frame count. Yeah, I think we don't need it. Okay, so yeah, we don't need the frame count, so we can use that. And instead we need it. We will be in die. I should rename it death, I think. Walk after and wait for death. Whatever. Frame count we don't need. Anim ID we don't have a specific animation for the death, and I think we don't need that, so we can also use that one. Yeah, also this one. So let's use that one, the anim frame count. All right, so we should have yeah, update death. Let's create our update death. And obviously we will call the update of the physics. Okay. So I said we can use the frame count with X and Y. All right, we need to start and to stop. So we start in the check lethal here. I think if we have collision, we hit a lethal pixel. So that's the stop. Yep, we need the start. So we can also jump on one side or the other. Compute the horizontal velocity for the death trajectory. Okay, so I said we will use the anim frame count here. Clear alive property. Okay, so we should not immediately remove ourselves. We should die first. So here we should change to the state, to the death state. Maybe I can just but when do I need yes, I should check if I am outside of the screen, inside the death state, but here I should return true or false. So I will return it here. That's okay. So let's go to init update depth. Which will return a flag to tell when I'm totally dead. Just add it here. All right, so do I have a function to check if I'm on screen or not? I think not. And I'm wondering if this function can return negative value. Probably yes. I think so. Yeah, okay. X on screen, blah blah blah. Yeah, I can have negative value or value outside of the screen. So actually I don't want to write this 2 times. Maybe I can reuse the function is on screen here. Where is this function? This function was using also the width and height of the characters. Yeah, basically this bar is very similar, but I need to know the sprite width and height. Okay, so I can give that as a parameter to make this as a function of the map manager. Is on screen. So unsigned char width and height. Okay, so this one I'll call it sprite width. Yeah, just do this. And sprite height. And I need to, of course, specify X and Y. So X, Y, sprite with Y, X on screen, Y on screen, and I check if everything is on screen. All right. Let's declare this here. And let's call it from Rick. Okay. Is on screen, X, Y, and sprite width and sprite height. compute my width and height depending on if I'm scrolling or not. Ask the map manager if I'm on screen. Let's double check the parameters with height. Okay, with height XY. All right. Then I can call that function also in the enemy. Check if I'm still on screen. If map manager is on screen, X, Y, and get width. So that is becoming handy because I have created that function. I knew it will change depending on the enemy type, and I will also make a get height because that will change for the scorpion. The scorpion will be much shorter. So let's write it for now, even if I don't, if it will be constant for now. I'll put it next to get width here. Okay, let's just do that for now. Height. So the depth. Okay, so if not on screen, then I clear my alive property, I remove from map manager, and I return true. Otherwise I will return false. Okay, and then here in the update, return value. By default will return false. And here we'll get it here. And here I can just return it. Okay, so yeah, so we have started a trajectory. We should stop it now. So let's stop it, and we stop it when we are out of the screen. Stop. Stop the parabolic trajectory. All right, so clear it, remove. Okay, and then we are really dead in in that case if we are not on screen. I think we have our update death working. Let's try to compile it. Is looking to def, not declare. Yes. So is mirror, is property set mirror. Let me, it's here. X. And death velocity, we don't know yet, so we have to also declare it. I will copy it from Rick, but yeah, since they are static const, that's totally fine to duplicate the value. This one. So we are in a class, so it should be static const exp. Let's move. Oh, don't know if we should move the same or less. Anyway, all right, let's try that. I forgot update death. Okay. Forgot a bracket in update death. Update death. Yep, here. Forgot one. Get height undefined. Get height. Get height. Did I define it? Let's copy it. All right. Yeah, not this button, sorry. Okay. Didn't work. It didn't work. Just disappear. Okay, so what did we do? Death, update death, return value is here. Oh, maybe this, we should check if the state is not death. Because I do that I should not die several times. No, still not. So I start here. From count. Because in fall I don't use it, so in death, sorry, I don't use it. So I update it here, XY. And or is if not on screen, XY get width get height is on screen, XY spread width was white. Then I stop it, clear, I remove, I return through, otherwise I return false. That seems pretty good to me, huh? Here I set the state to death. What about the draw? Nothing special. Anim frame ID, but I don't change the anim frame ID, so it should stay the same. This one I don't change. State I change. Frame count. For an speed, maybe I should use that one. Maybe this one is used for something else. Oh yes, it's used here. I updated every frame. Oh yeah. All right, my bad. So this is when you do optimization, right? When you don't want to reuse, when you don't want to add a variable in your class. Okay, that's full, etc. Full. Init full. So we should use that one. And can I, if I'm dead, here in the check static collision, okay, only if I'm falling I use it. So if I'm dead I don't use it. Init fall, update fall. All right, seems safer to use it. So let's change that. So start and in the update and the stop. Let's try again. I'm confident. I should not. I don't know what happened. Why he didn't want to die. That's so bad. Because I think he's getting back into walk state. No, it cannot. Yes, because in the static collision, yes. There's a ground, or maybe there's no ground, and then I go back to fall or something. So I should check I'm not dead or dying actually. So basically, all the static collision checks should be avoided when I'm dying. I can just clear the flag instead of I could just also early exit here if I'm dying, or I could clear the flag maybe. So in the init of the death, clear property. All right, let's try again. Oh yes. Combo. Okay, it works, buddy. Kill me. No, no, that's bad. Okay. Yeah. Actually, I should change the drawing state. Remove it from lethal. So I'm not. I'm not lethal anymore. That's funny. So let me check the flag. Yeah, just lethal. And I'm not lethal anymore. What are you doing? But I'm enemy, so I should not be enemy anymore. Yeah, I'm not lethal. I'm enemy. My bad. Is this flag I need to clear? Um, but if I'm not enemies, I will not draw enemy anymore. Okay, I should set it to set property. So I should become something useless, like for example, ignored by enemies. Let's check the update. Yeah, they are drawn after the collision. Yeah. Okay. Like I said, we could also just check here at the beginning of the check static collision. We can just check if I'm dead, and the death state I can just return and ignore all the code. Don't do anything. But still, yeah, no, that's not only collision, because if I'm dying, I should also not be lethal to anybody else. So, no, I think it's probably better to do it like that. because I should have now I should have a new state. In which I just draw. And update. I don't care about the collision. And actually I can just do this. Because I will only in death I'm in that flag with that flag. So this one can just be just a normal break and return false. All right, let's try again. What did I do? He's not a member of, yeah. Update state. That's update state. That's draw in your enemies. Okay. Oh, sorry, I was in full screen. I didn't show you the code I changed. I will show you after. Let's try. Wrong button. Yes, and oh, I want it to be touched by him. So basically, I just add this update state here, and I remove it from here. So I remove the flag here. Just draw. I don't care the collision, and just update the death. I should wait for him to come toward me. Yeah, it touched me. Yeah, right? Touch me. All right, a last thing, just a last little thing I need to draw when we are dying. We need to draw in invert color, just like Rick. So I will add back the color from the draw function. So I will draw here and invert color, and here in white. All right, let's try again. Oh, forgot to change the signature here. and Sanchar, I think. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay. Good. All right, let's commit that and we will end the stream now. What did we change? In Rick. Okay, just remove the frame counter that is useless. And I just add the is on screen on map manager. Is on screen function on the map manager. Okay, is on screen. Is on screen. On the enemy, we have death velocity, death, to get height, update death, and the draw with the color. On CPP, we have draw in white. Actually, this, we don't need it anymore. Because if we are instead death, then we are here. So I can just remove that test. Just for optimization reason. I will test again after, don't worry. Okay, so we start the parabolic, set the test state, clear the property, set the property, and we move that to the update depth. Here we just draw in invert update depth. All right, we have the get height and update depth. We call the parabolic. We check if we are not on screen. We stop the trajectory. We clear the alive, remove, return through. We draw the color. Okay. So implement the death state for the enemy. Just test again because I have removed one test. It should work. And it works. Okay, so let's commit this. Actually, we can also update our readme. And let's commit it. All right, and I push. Not sure. Yeah. All right. That's all. That's it for today. Yeah, we're quite happy. If we look at the to-do list, we still have checking why the bullet is not killed when it hit the enemy. And then we have to implement the logic of the skeleton for following Rick or not, including the wait state. And yeah, that will be all for the enemy. No, probably after that we have the scorpion coming, so we'll probably do it at the same time. That won't be a big deal, I think. So yeah, I'm quite happy. Thank you for following that stream, and then see you in the next stream. Then bye bye.